Hi, so what I have here is two of the most popular electric kettles on Amazon.com, and I got one for my mom and one for myself. And you'll notice that the one on the left there, which is the Hamilton Beach, is 1.7 liters, and this particular one is 1.5 liters. So I really wanted to compare and contrast and give you a demo of the boiling of the water side by side. Now I'm going to zoom in here and give you a close-up view side by side of each one of these. So you'll notice that the Hamilton Beach is about 1.25 inches taller than the Ovente, and that's because the Hamilton Beach is 1.7 liters while the Ovente is 1.5. But there is really just very little difference between at least the form factor as far as the base, because both of the bases are 6 inches in diameter. So for the most part, they take up the same countertop space. Now, if I show you the lid, you'll notice that each one of these actually has a mesh filter, and they don't go quite against the glass, as you'll notice. And that's the same with the Ovente here. It doesn't go quite against the glass, so if you're boiling tea or something, you'll definitely need a strainer. So let me go ahead and also show you the differences between the lid. So the thing I like about the Ovente is that the lid pops up with this button where you push it and it immediately ejects, and you could actually, clean it and very nicely pour water out of it or into it in the sink. While the Hamilton Beach, you actually have to pinch the lid and grasp it and push it up into an upright position. Now sometimes what happens is you'll grasp it and it just falls back down because you do have to push it up to that upright position. And as far as cleaning, because you do want to look at what's involved in, sometimes you're boiling other stuff in with it, like coffee or some other sort of tea leaves that you're using. I just want to show you the base of it just to see what's involved in the cleaning. And also, if you look at this, I suppose there's a way you could remove the mesh if you don't want your boiling water to contact the plastic. Though both of these are BPA-free, is what they say as far as the plastic. Now for the Hamilton Beach, same thing here. This looks like it's a little bit more difficult to remove as far as the filter or the mesh. And just showing you the mechanism here. What's involved in the cleaning. So that's the lid. Now I do want to talk a little bit about the stainless steel plate at the bottom. So I've used this a couple times and you'll notice it's already discoloring. So this is the Hamilton Beach one as compared to the Ovente. And the Ovente also is discoloring. You see those spots? And that's because I have hard water. So it's gonna have the mineral buildup at the bottom if you have hard water. And you can't avoid that. It's nothing particular to these models. Even if you had a higher end model where you're buying the $70 version, you're gonna have this. What I do is I actually wash this every other month with vinegar. I'll soak it in vinegar, 45 minutes or so, just to wash it out. Probably a teaspoon of vinegar with, 2 pints of water or so. And the other thing I want to show is just the thickness of the glass. So this is your typical thickness. It's a little bit thicker than basically your coffee pots. And just looking at the glass here for the thickness of the glass, so you could compare. And if I do it side by side here, you could judge for yourself. And actually, let me bring this a little bit closer so you could judge for yourself how thick it is. And upon closer inspection, I would say the Ovente is a couple of hairs thicker. Now the other thing about the Ovente is it comes with various colors. You'll see I have the orange here, but it comes in white, it comes in plum, which is a little bit of a purple, maroon, pink, red, black, white, orange, green, whereas this Hamilton Beach is only a stainless steel. And you'll notice here with the stainless steel, it does have spots that you'll have to clean off. So that's one little disadvantage. Now the Hamilton Beach is $29 while this Ovente is $19.99. So let me go ahead and show you the boiling of the water. Now before I do that, I do want to say that the switch here for the Ovente is up top. So this is the on-off switch. I push it down here to turn it on, and then it pops right out if it's off. It's automatic. And the switch for the Hamilton Beach is at the bottom here, where you push down and it turns it on. Now let me go ahead and do the boiling water demo test. But the other thing I want to show is actually the wiring. So the cord here for this is 30 inches, and it's the thicker cord, and it's very thick because it's actually a 3-prong grounded cord, and you can wrap it around once to make it shorter to sort of hide the cord. So that is the Ovente. The Hamilton Beach is similar, where it has a thinner cord and a 2-prong cord, so it doesn't have the ground, but you could wrap the cord around a lot more. And the cord for the Hamilton Beach is 28 inches. Now the base is merely for the electrical connection, whereas for both of these, the heating element is actually in the pot itself at the bottom. And as I mentioned before, the base, both of these are 6 inches in diameter. And let me go ahead now and give you the boiling water test. So I'm gonna fill it with water here, and this nice handy button that just ejects. So I filled each of these with water, the Hamilton Beach with 1.7 liters and the Ovente with 1.5. And I'm gonna go ahead and close the lid here and push the button. So here I have to actually squeeze to close the lid. So keep that in mind. That's one of the more inconvenient aspects of this Hamilton Beach. So I'm going to push the button here to turn it on. You'll notice the blue light turns on, and the button for the Hamilton Beach is down here. I'm going to push it and turn it on, and now we'll just wait for it to boil. Now the thing I mentioned before about the stainless steel plate at the bottom and how it builds up with the minerals, and yeah, you'll need vinegar to wash it. My judgment on that is these things will probably last 2 years or 2.5 years. But they're probably not something that'll last 5 years, simply because if you have very high mineral buildup and hard water, it seems like the stainless steel plate is just going to get discolored and get a lot worse. And over time, it'll look like it's going to be rust. So you'll notice here, just the two blue glows. Now on the video, the Hamilton Beach looks like it's flickering, but that's just the video. In reality, it doesn't actually flicker at all. It's just a nice steady blue there. So let me just pull back here and give you a better overall view of the two models. And now we're just waiting for it to boil. Now the Hamilton Beach is going to take 7.5 minutes, and the Ovente takes roughly 7 minutes, plus or minus, a couple of 30 seconds here and there, really depending on how cold your water is. Though I find that the Hamilton Beach actually heats it a little bit more efficiently, given that it has more water. And the Hamilton Beach might actually come to a boil a little bit faster than the Ovente. Now the difference here is if you are looking for 1.5, the Ovente is good enough at basically $19.99, whereas the Hamilton Beach for that extra 0.2 liters is $29. As far as functionality, you're really just giving up that 0.2 liters. I really do love the lid of the Ovente, and so I'm a little bit biased in that respect. But if you do want a bigger container, obviously just by looking at both of these, the Hamilton Beach is the way to go. So now both of these are basically coming to a boil there. You could hear the sound. Of the boiling. Now I'm just going to zoom in here and give you a better look so you could hear and see the sound of the boiling of the water. And there is a plus or minus 30 seconds or so, even from time to time. It's not as consistent as you think, and I think a lot of times it does have to do with the temperature of the water, obviously, that you're boiling. And make sure to keep the cap on, because when you keep the cap on, it adds pressure to the water, and pressure plus heat actually makes the water boil a lot faster. So I ended up tripping the circuit breaker of my living room here by turning both of these on at the same time. So I've actually turned off the light so that it doesn't pull that wattage, even though it's a fraction of the wattage. Let's see if it triggers the circuit breaker again. But keep in mind, these things are 700 watts or so when they're boiling. So that's another thing to keep in mind as you're having these plugged in with other appliances, that they are very high in wattage. And I'll have it posted in the description area, both of these links, but also the wattage, because I'm not quite sure what the wattage is. I believe it's 700 watts to maybe even 1,000 watts, which is much more or less that of a microwave. So I had both of these basically on the same circuit breaker, and it triggered the circuit breaker. Now they are boiling, and probably in another 3 minutes or so you'll see it come to a boil. And once again, the Hamilton Beach consistently is somewhere between 7 minutes and 30 seconds, while the Ovente, usually it's around 7 minutes, plus or minus 30 seconds, so 6.5 minutes to 7.5 minutes it'll come to a boil. And once again, the circuit breaker triggered. So I had to basically skip to the end a little bit because I didn't want my circuit breaker to trip a little bit too much, but you'll see both of these are boiling. And they do have the automatic shut off, or you could actually manually shut it off just by pushing the button. So I just want to show you its automatic shut off here. And you see the switch there flipped. So it turned it off automatically. And this particular one, I could shut it off manually, or it'll shut off by itself. And that's really it. That is the demo of the Hamilton Beach and the Ovente 1.7 and 1.5 liter electric kettle. And I hope this helped. And please subscribe, and thank you for watching, and check out the links in the description area. And thank you.